doing this work in 2019 when I was in the Navy band, and COVID happened, the Navy band really turned into a recording organization for a while, and I started doing this electronic stuff a little more seriously because I had already been playing with it. And I wrote this show called Brian Pan Live, and I was one of the musicians who was going on doing a real Zoom show. I wasn't doing a YouTube presentation that I talked about on Zoom before. I was really performing live from my living room and pumping in electronic music into the Zoom space. And Music at Noon was the first group to hire me to do that work, or one of the first groups to hire me to do that work. And when I've gotten the opportunity to come back, I'm just so excited. So thank you for having me. The show that I'm going to do today, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what's going to go on. And kind of the principal thing that you need to understand is this is real life. You're here right now, and I am too. This equipment started in Hawaii with me, flew to Portland, not to here, flew to Portland and then arrived here this morning. This all equipment is going to be real, and the general idea that I want you to understand when I'm playing is if it looks like I'm doing it, I am. I'm not trying to trick you, so I'm not going to go up here and play a bunch of piano and it's pre-recorded piano. If you see it happening, you should believe your eyes. It's pretty much the case of what's going on. The show I'm doing today is called Color Kinematics, and I've taken these images that I've made called refractography, which is photography of broken glass in pitch black conditions without a lens, using a pinpoint of light, and then rotating the glass. So a lot of the images, that's actually great. I think someone does really an example of that rotating glass. And I'm going to be manipulating those videos and images during the show. Some of them react to my horn playing, some of them react to my synthesizer, some of them react to all sorts of different things. And that's kind of the idea. There's no story here, and if anyone's familiar with the work that I've done before, I'm really into story. One of my favorite shows that I've written is called The Stan Effect, which is about Stan the computer and his experiences as a performer. There's no story here, so the best way to consume this music is to open your eyes and open your ears and kind of just lean back and try to meditate your way through it. About 80% of this is going to be improvised. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to try to get us to, it's 8 o'clock for me, I'm going to try to get us to like 35 to 40 minutes, and then I'll stop. It'll be pretty obvious when it's over, and then I'd love to answer any questions you have. Just a brief overview of what's going on. I have a French horn. This is it. It's a circle, and I play in here. This is where I'll get most of the looper information and do some effects. I have an Ableton Push 3. That with the computer is the main driver of the show. I have a MIDI fighter twister, a Novation launch key, a Keith McMillan soft step, and a variety of pedals below me, and that's what I'll be using to do this work. And the software is run on Ableton Live, all stock things, and a visual program Something that I neglected to say at the beginning of this performance is that I heavily rely on feedback to create things that you might not expect. And I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate that kind of verbally right now. So I have, if I stop everybody and say, don't play anymore, I'm going to give you some piano that I'll turn into this feedback, and you can kind of hear what's going on. So this is a regular old piano. And I can send it into my echo. And then what I end up doing is I send the echo into itself. And then you have this kind of material that I've captured here. And I can spill that over and break the speaker, so I'm very attentive to this particular knob. And then I can do different things. I can send it to other effects. And that's where I get that little ghostly. I can move the ghostly around. And do different things like that. And a lot of times I end up pulsing the feedback in different ways that kind of allow me, that's where the improvisation of the electronic music comes in. So when I'm working, I have a number of sounds that just make sounds, but then as I send them into feedback locations, they're able to do different things. That's how I'm able to draw. There's obviously just one of me. There's nobody in the back. There is somebody in the back. There's nobody in the back doing music with me. And what that means is I'm able to drive one instrument much further than I can normally. If I just have one horn, you know, very nice, but then if I send that to its own place and then end up and I end up being very attentive to those things. So that's how I kind of create sort of glue that holds everything together. If I didn't do that, I think the music would be quite thin. And I apologize for not saying that at the beginning of the performance. I think perhaps it would have been interesting to know that while I was doing it. But I would love to answer any questions you might have about what just happened. Is everybody okay? You all feeling okay? I see a hand, thank goodness.
Yeah, I really like your texture to the French horn with the synthesized music.
Thank you.
Really good.
I do too.
Integration with the light show too is great.
Thank you.
Question about how much is your performance pre-planned and how much is improvised?
So, are there any like professional improvisers here? Like jazz people? None of the jazz. Oh, hello. So, I think most jazz people will tell you that they have a plan when they start. They've got a general idea, and I've got a pretty good idea of the structure. I have things that I know. I know that when I'm going to bring back that material that I started at the beginning, I know I want to change it a little bit, so I'm going to do something with the pulsing feedback. If I play piano poorly or particularly well, that'll create certain things that I can do. The horn playing is I get out there and I'm like, I have an idea of what note I want to do, what kind of note I want to start on, what kind of effects I want to do, and then I'm really responding to the electronics. The great thing about working with feedback is it's like a partner who is extremely creative. So the electronics will be doing something, I'll have left something on that feeds into itself, and then I hear this new sound, I'm like, oh, well that's where I want to take it. I would say that 70% of the notes you hear are improvised. Quite a bit of the structure is built. There is a bit of a B section in the little wavy, the blue section. There was something that I wanted to try, but I got a little scared, so I didn't do it. There was a whoosh, and I had it all laid out, and I was like, I'm not quite sure if I have the footwork to structure it well, and then I moved on. So that's where that went. That was a great question. Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Everybody. Oh, hi.
When did you start playing this kind of electronic music with your friends?
So I was playing in the Navy band in 2019. And I just started playing around, and then I read this book called Thanks Obama, which was a comedy book about one of Obama's speechwriters. And in reading that book, I got an idea for a piece of music. And then being in the military, you're like in a bubble. You don't talk to anybody. You don't know anything. I didn't know any composers. So I said, I guess I have to figure it out. So I started taking lessons on Ableton, and then I started making music kind of on my way to that piece. And then people liked it. And then people said, hey, you should do a show. And then the pandemic hit, and I didn't need leave to go from the Navy to perform. So that's when the fine folks here hired me, and a number of other folks hired me. And then when I left the Navy, I started going on the road. But it was pretty much an idea for a piece, and I just started doing that. And now it's just a ton of fun. I mean, you can imagine how easy it is to sit here. Once you kind of have it's almost like an instrument. Once you have a grasp of what you're doing, you can kind of just spend hours just doing things and making cool sounds happen. So it's a ton of fun if you're thinking about it. Yeah.
Hi. Because you work with the visuals and the auditory, I guess my question to you is, do you prioritize one over the other?
Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
Do you prioritize one over the other, like basing what you're improvising off of the visual, or more so?
I would say 85% of my effort is going into sound.
Yeah.
Most of the work for the visuals is done in photography. Me sitting in a room by myself in pitch black conditions doing photography, and then I manipulate it, and then it's kind of based on there. And then I spend a lot of time programming. So if I can go back to, it is a little tough for me to navigate around, but if I have this, so that obviously doesn't make any. That's the right note, right? But that's not the right instrument. When I set the instrument to that little marimba, that's where you get that. So that instrument is tied to this little. Yeah. And right now the echoes are all messed up. So if I cut all of the effects out, and then I've added an arpeggiator to that. And then you got that, and then you send it into the feedback, and then you have a whole other thing, and it grows on its own. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. My question is, I guess as an artist, how much do you focus on like the actual experimental aspect of the music versus the more like auditorily soothing, you know what I mean?
Like the exploring versus the putting together something show ready.
Yeah.
If you come up with that answer, I'll hire you. I'd really like to know. I'll tell you, just in the kind of the spirit of the Music at Noon recital, I am at my most uncomfortable right now. I am much more comfortable working in my story shows. I'm so proud of this. I'm really proud of this show. I walked into the room to do the stand effect, which is one of my other shows, and I think there's nobody cooler than 150 miles to this spot. Like that show is on rails. It is not improvised except for very small segments. It's very, very secure. So that experiment has already been done, and I'm just going to execute a thing. Here I come out, and it's like, it was very scary to go, okay, there's no music. Like if I just push play, now if I push play, there's all the music I've already done. But if I push play, nothing will occur. And it's like, all right, Ryan, you gotta go make it happen. So I think at this point, like standing here in front of you, I'm pretty much done sound designing. The question you're asking is about sound designing. I would say the process involves, my teacher has me do sound design Sundays, and I do sound design for hours. And then if I come up with a sound I like, I'll design an instrument around it. I know I want this to affect. You saw the purple. Did the purple work? Nice. So the purple took me a really long time to code because I knew I wanted something that was horn reactive. So I wrote the sounds, and I knew I wanted it really horn based, and then writing the instruments. So I would say there's like a point that I'm like, okay, there's a show, and now I got to make sure I can do it consistently. Do I know where all the buttons are? Are these all in place? And then you just practice until you can do it. Does that kind of?
Yeah.
Thank you. And, hello.
What's the different sound that you get versus the muffling device that you put inside a different horn versus using your hand?
It's a great question. I struggled a little bit today. So when I play horn, will just route their instrument directly into the audio interface, and what you're hearing is coming out of the speakers. You're not really hearing the sound. And then they can crank it up and it's all balanced inside. I am basically running two sound systems. I'm running what's coming out of the horn, and then I'm running electronics. For that, it's pretty obvious that I can't do effects that totally change the instrument, right? Because you would hear the horn happening at the same time, and that would kind of kill the effect. This is practice mute, so if I play. And if electronics are going on, you certainly won't hear that, and that's when I do my. Really do my drive with that. It was a little live today, so I stayed away a little bit. But that is the idea. Is it's silence. It silences the horn, so I can drive the electronics out of it. Hello.
Hi. How long did it take you to figure out, like, get comfortable with the synthesizer? I know you said you started doing this, like, right before COVID, right?
Oh, I look comfortable, do I? That's fantastic.
Yeah, you do. That's amazing.
That's so great.
It's beautiful. It's like magic, honestly.
So every show I do is different. If you came in to Dr. Rivera's apartment tomorrow morning at 2 in the morning and like woke me up and said, you have to do the stand effect right now, I'd go, got it. And I just do it. So I'm extremely comfortable doing that. Are you doing like in a general way being comfortable with equipment or with this show?
Like how long did it take for you to learn how to use the synthesizer? It's such a cool instrument.
I took weekly lessons for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And approached it with the same vigor that I did my master's degree on the horn. I was very, very serious about it. And then the problem with it is learning this type of equipment is not very linear. So when I started out, I was working so hard to just do, I have this sound in my head and this is what I want to do. And my teacher's like, okay, and then we did that, but we left a bunch of stuff behind. So then when I had to do something else, it was like, okay, well, here's all these fundamentals that you have to learn. And then we did that. So it was really that way. I'll be honest with you, this is the first show that I've written, Color Kinematics, where I actually feel like I'm playing an instrument. I'm like in it. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. When I do the stand effect, it's really like I'm playing the horn, and I'm playing the loopers, and then I play piano. And then it's all very, it's like, have you ever seen those videos of the Thunderbirds with what they say to each other? I guess they're not fighter pilots, they're trick pilots. And they're like, 20%, push 2, like they have like a little song. When I'm doing another show, it's very much like, button 5, left hand, it's so this way. And you can see videos of me like, because it's not improvised, which means I can go faster. Here, there was one moment in the show, and I thought about y'all. It was, I had gotten somewhere, and then I was like, now what? Like, I didn't know what to do. But the great thing about that was a creative block, not a technology block. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but when I come up with it, I know how to do that. That was really, so many, many hours. But it gets there. It feels, it was like a moment. I'm like, and then I feel really comfortable. If you wanted me to do it again, if you like describe the sound, I could probably come up with it. So, like, hey, can you do something like a waltz? Sure. Like, I could probably come up with it. So, yeah. Any other questions? It's like the best audience I've had in ages. Now you have to slam it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Good job.
just now with that question, you talked about like kind of when you feel like you're done with a show, but even when you're performing, like whether or not it was like the colors or the images or the sound, it seems like you segmented the performance a lot, and it's like, how do you know when you end the segment? Is it satisfaction or is it like with the stuff like I don't know?
I think it's different for each one. So when I'm at the beginning and I'm doing, I call it gray, the beginning. I'm like, there's kind of a point where I run out of instruments, because I only have 4 instruments. Like I have 1,000 instruments, but I only have 4 tracks at which I can make sound. I can only make 4 sounds at a time. Now, when I add feedback to that, it's 4 times 1,000, and I can do all that. And I have a horn, which has so many effects, and I have the loopers. there's kind of a point a lot of times where I'm like, I've said everything I want to say, and I've used all the tracks I've got, and then I'm like, okay, have I said everything I want to do on the horn? I'm almost like checklisting. I'm like, what am I thinking? It's almost like, have I listened enough? Have I heard and responded to everything I've heard myself do? It kind of like loops around, and then I'm like, I think we're good to kind of come out of it. And then sometimes when I start trying to transition out of it, something will happen. I'm like, oh, that's what I have to go spend time on, and I'll go do that. It's almost like gardening in fast motion in a way. And then I'm like, trim everything. And I think it's pretty obvious how I do it. I pretty much wash the feedback, and then now I'm in the new set. And I kind of use that wash as a base to program the next thing, and then I start something. So I sat there on, sound like doing all that, because I know I'm ready to go on this thing, and that's where I'm going. Close?
Oh, that was awesome.
Great.
Thank you for
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.